atheism can't explain so much of reality that I don't think it's a viable worldview. It doesn't have enough what we call explanatory power or
Mm,
scope to explain what we know about reality.
mm. And in the book, you kind of talk about how Christianity does have that explanatory power and scope. You go through truth, you go through the origin of the universe, the fine tuning of the universe, the origin and complexity of life. You go through the argument from morality that we know these things to be true. So, on that point, what questions is the Christian worldview better able and equipped to answer?
Well, just about every one of them. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, we can answer, where did the universe come from? Why is it fine tuned to such an extreme precision?
Mm,
Where did life come from? Where do subsequent life forms come from? Where do the laws of morality come from? How about the laws of logic, the laws of mathematics? How about the fact that there was a man who about 2,000 years ago lived, died, and the evidence shows he actually rose from the dead? How do you explain that in the absence of a being like God? In fact, when people ask me, how do I know that God exists? I say, I know God by his effects.
mm,
If there's a creation, that's the effect. I'm reasoning back to a cause, a creator. If there's design in the universe and design in life, that's the effect. I'm reasoning back to a cause, a designer. If there's a moral law written on our heart, that's the
mm,
effect. I'm reasoning back to a cause, a moral lawgiver. If I have this capacity to know reality outside of my skull, that's the effect. I can think. I'm reasoning to a cause. What could have caused this universe to be so rationally intelligible and me to be able to understand it? I'm reasoning back to a mind. If there's evidence a man predicted and accomplished his own resurrection from the dead, that's
mm,
the effect. I'm reasoning back to a cause. Who could rise somebody from the dead? And we even do that in our private lives, Ash. Like if our viewers right now are thinking, well, God just answered my prayer,
mm,
you're doing the same thing. You're saying the prayer, the answered prayer is the effect, and you're reasoning back to a cause, and you're saying the cause is God. This is what scientists do. They always reason from effect to cause. And the queen
mm,
of all sciences, this is going to sound shocking to our postmodern or modern ears. The queen of all science is not physics, biology, or any of the physical sciences. The queen of all sciences is theology.
mm,
Why? Because it takes all of the aspects of reality. First of all, it investigates whether or not God exists. And then if God does exist, then it says, it shows how all of these aspects of academic inquiry, whether it's physics, biology, anthropology, psychology, any of the ologies out there, how do they all fit under one big umbrella of truth? How do they all fit
mm.
together? That's the queen of all sciences, is theology, and it was that way early on, but the materialistic viewpoint sort of overpowered it, and now we're left with a stunted worldview where we say everything is made of molecules. Doesn't make any
Mm.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's this section at the end of I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be Atheist. They kind of compile the cumulative argument that you make. You make a statement like to hold to an atheistic worldview consistently, you have to believe that order came from chaos. You believe that information came from randomness. You have to believe that a universe came from nothing. You kind of compile all of that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's helpful because you're showing the big picture and you take all the things together. And I think that's where philosophy comes in. I feel like that's where you make the conclusion.